Have you ever wondered about which fish are safe to eat? Choosing seafood can be tricky if you don't know what to look for. In this video, we'll count down the 7 kinds of fish you should never eat, so you'll feel confident picking out seafood that's good for you and your family. So, are you ready to learn some eye-opening facts for a healthier lifestyle? Let's get started. Kicking off our list at number 7 is tilapia. Tilapia has become one of the most widely eaten seafood options. It's cheap, mild-tasting, and often touted as a healthy protein source. But the truth about tilapia might make you think twice before putting it on your plate. First off, it's important to know that most tilapia you find in stores is farm-raised. Now that might sound okay, but the reality of tilapia farming is concerning. The food these farm-raised tilapia eat is far from natural. Some tilapia farms feed their fish a diet that includes animal poop, harmful bacteria, and toxic chemicals called dioxins. These substances can build up in the fish over time. When you eat that tilapia, you're getting a serving of those toxins too. Additionally, tilapia has very low levels of the good omega-3 fatty acids that make other fish so healthy. Instead, it's packed with omega-6 fatty acids. Now, we need some omega-6 in our diet, but too much can cause problems. A study by the Wake Forest University found that farm-raised tilapia has more unhealthy omega-6 fats than a burger, donuts, and even bacon. That's right. This fish choice could be worse for you than a greasy burger. But why does this matter? Well, having too many omega-6 fats compared to omega-3s can cause inflammation in your body. Inflammation can lead to all sorts of health problems, and it's especially bad if you already have issues like heart disease, arthritis, or asthma. At number 6, we have Atlantic cod. Atlantic cod was easy to catch, and you could keep it for a long time without it going bad. But cod came at a high price. In the late 1990s, the cod population crashed. There were so few left that fishing for them became nearly impossible. Today, things aren't looking much better for Atlantic cod. They might even disappear forever if we're not careful. Because of overfishing, the cod population isn't what it used to be. A female cod can lay over 100 million eggs, but only a tiny few of those baby cods survive to grow up. That makes it hard for cod to recover from all the fishing. Here's the thing. Even though Atlantic cod is in trouble, some people are still fishing for it when they shouldn't be. There are rules about how much cod can be caught, but not everyone follows them. But there's an even bigger problem. The cod that are left are soaking up something really bad. Mercury. It's a toxic metal that can seriously harm people who eat too much of it. When cod eat smaller fish that have a little mercury, it builds up in their bodies over time. And since there aren't as many cod left, the ones that survive are eating more of these mercury-filled smaller fish. Now, when we eat these cod, we're getting all that mercury too. Mercury can mess with our brains and nerves. For grown-ups, that can mean trouble thinking clearly or moving normally. For kids and babies still growing, it can cause even bigger problems with how their brains develop. So, how bad is it really? Well, it's bad enough that experts say we should be careful about eating cod. They placed cod in the moderate mercury group, which means it's not the worst fish out there, but it's definitely not the safest either. If you love cod and can't imagine giving it up, don't worry. There's a safer cousin you can try, Alaskan cod. This fish is caught in a way that's better for the ocean and usually has less mercury. Coming in at number 5 is swordfish. From ocean predator to potential poison on your plate. The swordfish's journey is a cautionary tale of nature gone wrong. These fierce fighters of the sea now carry a toxic weapon that could harm you. They have a sword-like bill that is used to slash through schools of smaller fish. These creatures rule the seas, eating lots of smaller fish and squid, but their place at the top of the food chain comes with a hidden danger. Remember how we talked about toxins building up in fish? Well, swordfish are like toxin magnets. As they gobble up smaller fish, they're also swallowing all the toxins those fish have collected. And because swordfish can live for up to 15 years, they keep adding more and more toxins to their bodies. The biggest problem for swordfish is also mercury. Tiny sea creatures absorb it. Then small fish eat those creatures, and bigger fish eat the small fish. By the time a swordfish eats those bigger fish, the mercury levels are significantly high. Additionally, studies show that swordfish can have mercury levels that are almost 10 times higher than what health experts say is safe. That's why health organizations are waving red flags about swordfish. Specifically, the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, in the United States says pregnant women who might get pregnant, nursing moms, and young children should never eat swordfish. It's a sad example of how pollution in our oceans can turn even the mightiest predators into dangerous food. At number 4, we have king mackerel. This big, fast swimmer is a favorite among sport fishers. People love to catch it because it puts up a good fight. It's also popular as food, and many people enjoy its rich, oily meat. But there's a dark side to this royal fish that might make you think twice about putting it on your plate. This fish also has a big mercury problem. King mackerel soaks up mercury like a sponge, way more than other types of mackerel. This makes it one of the most toxic fish you can eat. But why does king mackerel have so much more mercury? It's all about how it lives. King mackerel grow big and live long. They can weigh up to 100 pounds and live for more than 20 years. That's a long time to collect mercury from all the smaller fish they eat. The FDA allows fish to contain up to 1 part per million of mercury, but king mackerel can exceed that limit. Unfortunately, many still think it's a healthy choice because it has good fats called omega-3s. However, the risks from mercury far outweigh any benefits from these healthy fats. Here's something interesting. Where a king mackerel lives can change how much mercury it has. Fish caught in some areas have more mercury than others. This is because some parts of the ocean have more pollution. So even if you're careful, it's hard to know for sure how toxic your king mackerel might be. So what should you do? The safest bet is to avoid king mackerel altogether. There are plenty of other fish in the sea that taste great and won't put your health at risk. Look for smaller fish that don't live as long. They usually have less mercury and are safer to eat. Sliding into number 3 is orange roughy. Orange roughy might sound like a fun tropical fish, but it's far from it. This fish lives way down in the cold, dark parts of the ocean. It's not very big, usually about 1 to 3 pounds, and it has a bright orange color that turns white when it's cooked. But here's where things get interesting. Orange roughy can live for a very long time. Some of these fish are over 100 years old. Now, you might be wondering why a fish's age matters. Well, remember how we talked about toxins building up in fish over time? Orange roughy has a lot of time to gather all the bad stuff from the ocean. They grow very slowly and don't have babies until they're about 20 years old. This means they have many years to collect toxins before anyone catches them to eat. Just like the other fish we've talked about, orange roughy can have high levels of mercury. But this isn't the only problem. Orange roughy also has a lot of other toxins called PCBs and arsenic. These are bad for your health too. They can cause all sorts of problems, from cancer to damage to your liver and other organs. So, why do people still eat orange roughy if it's so dangerous? Well, for a long time, people didn't know how old these fish could get or how many toxins they had. The fish became popular in the 1980s because it tastes good and the meat stays firm when you cook it. Lots of restaurants started serving it. Another problem with orange roughy is that they are being overfished. In some parts of the ocean, there are now very few orange roughy left, and it could take hundreds of years for their numbers to get back to normal. For a safer alternative, look for fish that grow faster and don't live as long. These fish usually have fewer toxins. Good choices include salmon, trout, and smaller fish like sardines. Nearing the top of our list at number 2 is shark. Sharks are the big bosses of the ocean. These amazing creatures help make sure coral reefs and seagrass beds stay healthy by controlling how many other fish are around. Without sharks, the whole ocean ecosystem could get messed up. But these ocean kings are in big trouble, and not just from fishing. The very thing that makes sharks so powerful, being at the top of the food chain, can harm them. And if you eat shark meat, it could hurt you too. Sharks can live up to over 70 years. And this long life comes with a big problem. The longer a shark lives, the more time it has to soak up toxic stuff from the ocean. Think about it like this. Every time a shark eats a smaller fish, it's not just getting food, it's also getting all the bad stuff that was in that fish. And because sharks eat lots of fish over their long lives, they end up with way more toxins in their bodies than other sea creatures. Remember how we said sharks are important for keeping the ocean healthy? Well, some people are making things even worse by doing something called shark finning. They catch sharks, cut off their fins, and throw the rest of the shark back into the ocean. The sharks that are left are stressed out and dying faster, which means the toxins in their bodies get even more concentrated. Another big problem is that sharks don't have very many babies. They grow slowly, and it takes a long time for them to be old enough to have their own baby shark. This means that when we catch too many sharks, it's really hard for their numbers to go back up. Finally, at the top of our list is salmon. Salmon has long been hailed as a superfood. It's packed with protein, omega-3 fatty acids, and other nutrients that are good for your heart and brain. Many people eat salmon, thinking they're making a smart choice for their health. However, most of the salmon you find in stores and restaurants isn't caught in the wild. It's raised on farms. And that's where things get fishy. Let's peek behind the curtain of salmon farms. These places are often crowded and dirty. The fish swim in small spaces filled with their own waste. To keep diseases at bay, farmers use lots of antibiotics and other chemicals. All of this creates a toxic soup that the salmon live in and absorb. A study from the journal Science found that farmed salmon contains high levels of chemicals called PCBs and dioxins. These are really bad for your health. They can mess with your hormones, hurt your immune system, and even cause cancer. But it gets worse. The food these farmed salmon eat contains things like pesticides and other harmful chemicals. As the salmon grow, they store up these toxins in their bodies. In fact, farmed salmon can have up to 8 times more PCBs than wild salmon. Farmed salmon is still often marketed as a healthy option. It's cheaper to produce than wild salmon, so it's easier to find in stores and restaurants. However, eating farm-raised salmon regularly could increase your risk of cancer and other health problems. The good news is that not all salmon is bad for you. Wild-caught Alaskan salmon is still a great choice. It has fewer contaminants and more of the good nutrients that make salmon healthy. When you're shopping for salmon, look for labels that say wild-caught or Alaskan. These fish are usually healthier and safer to eat. They might cost a bit more, but your health is worth it. We've explored the world of risky fish today, equipping you with the knowledge to make safer seafood choices. Now let's wrap up with some practical advice for your next trip to the fish market or restaurant. When selecting fish, take a moment to ask about its origin and fishing methods. Look for labels indicating wild-caught or sustainably fished options, as these often align with healthier choices for both you and the environment. Keep this knowledge in your back pocket and let it guide you towards smarter, healthier seafood selections. Were you surprised to see any of these fish on the list? Are there any other types of fish you avoid for health reasons? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with friends, and subscribe to our channel for more insights about health and wellness. And if you'd like to show your appreciation, please consider sending us a super thanks. Your support helps us continue creating valuable content and raising awareness about important health topics. Thanks for watching, and here's to making informed choices at the seafood counter.